Good morning, everyone, and welcome to today's Daily Word. Sorry, I'm just a couple minutes late. A couple computer issues going on this morning, but hopefully, finally have them solved and we can get through this today. We are in Tuesday of Holy Week, and we journey with Jesus as he continues to prepare his disciples for his execution, his death, his crucifixion. And so, as they gather and continue to have these conversations, we meet them and join them along this journey together. So, hopefully, as I said yesterday, you've planned on your calendar to join us Thursday night for our Monday Thursday service. We have dinner at 6 o'clock. It's going to be an excellent, great dinner. I've um, I've gone shopping for some of the stuff that I'm going to need for my part of the meal. So hopefully you're planning to join us. Then we'll begin worship together in the fellowship hall. We'll share in the sacrament of communion, and then we're going to finish upstairs. And so hopefully you're joining us on Thursday night. So for this morning, daily word number 703 from the Gospel of John, continued, chapter 12, verses 35 through 36, we hear these words. Jesus said to them, "The light is with you for a little longer. Walk while you have the light, so that the shadows may not overtake you. While you have the light, believe in the light, so that you may become children of light." You know, we live in an area of the country where we have, from time to time, these power outages. You know, the storms last week, and then it looks like we might be headed for some more difficult storms tomorrow. And, Diane works for Pioneer, and so she's on track of all of that. And she looks on her phone and she can see how many outages they are. And when it happens during work hours, she's on the front line of that, trying to direct calls and get crews to where they need to be. We are subject to power outages, the storms that wreak havoc in our world. And when that happens, you lose all the comforts of what we're used to, lights and being able to charge our phones and watch TV and use the internet. The other night when it was storming really bad, I was up in the middle of the night because I wasn't feeling well. And so it was storming and just raining. And so I plugged my phone in just to make sure if the power did go out, that I would have enough power in my phone. And, we light candles. Sometimes I've never done it, but sometimes we fill our bathtubs with water. We get prepared for all the things that might happen. So Jesus, with his followers in this particular text, is trying to prepare them for the looming execution that's about to happen on Friday. And so as he does that, he tries to search for metaphors that might cushion their grief, might give them some hope, might help them to live their lives after he's gone. And if you go just before this text, Jesus mentions seed and how it dies when it's put in the ground, how it dies, and then it has to, find new life there. But then in this text, he settles on the image of light to describe himself. And he says to them that the light is only with them for a little while. So while you have the light, absorb it. Make sure that you have enough inside you that the shadows can't overtake you. Have enough light in you, absorb enough that you are then children of light. And so, for us in our lives, in this season of Lent where there's lots of darkness, the darkness is pervasive, we're not sure what to do with all the emotion of Holy Week. And even, in our own lives without Holy Week, there's enough darkness to go around. There's enough struggle in our lives that we face, that we are reminded in this text that we should absorb the light of Christ and then absorb the light from each other and then have the courage to share it with each other. Look, we don't always do it well. Sometimes we're selfish with our own light. I know I am sometimes selfish with it. want to keep it for ourselves. But Jesus reminds the disciples in this text, and so reminds us, while you have the light, believe in the light, so that you too may be children of light. And so for us, we should let our lives be so gracefully formed by light that even when the power goes out, Jesus says, even when I'm gone, my love will shine through you. And so that's the challenge for us in Holy Week, to absorb the light, to absorb all the light we can through the love of Christ, and make sure that, in a sense, we're fully charged. And that when darkness comes, because it comes to all of us, and when challenges come and they come to all of us, and when the power goes out because, it happens to all of us, that, we just have enough in us that we could then be children of light. And so as we journey through this week, we're going to need all the light we can get as we make our way to the cross. And then as we make our way on Saturday, something that's called Holy Saturday, this time of waiting as earth awaits the resurrection. And then on Easter Sunday. And so I hope that you and I would absorb as much light as we can, the light of Christ. And then, not keep it to ourselves, but share it with others the best that we can. And when we fail to share it, just to help, God will help us regroup, and then we can share it again. So that's the word for today. I hope it's a good word for all of us to absorb the light around us. So may you know of God's love that surrounds you in all of these days in this Lenten journey together. Hopefully you'll know of my love for you, and I look forward to seeing you tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock.